name's Katrina Ryder, and I just want to tell you a little bit about the classes that I'm going to be teaching next year at Shanan Classical Tutorials. First, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll go through each of the 3 classes that I'm going to be teaching and tell you about the class and the curriculum that we'll be working through. I have grown up in this area. I grew up in Waxhaw. I went to public school and I graduated from Parkwood High School. I went to college at Asbury College in Wilmore, Kentucky, and I graduated with a bachelor's in English. After college, I taught public school for a couple of years, and I also attended graduate school at Winthrop University. But I didn't finish my master's degree because my husband and I joined a mission organization, and we went overseas and taught at Ukarumpa International School in Papua New Guinea for 2 years before returning back to the United States. Now my husband is a public school teacher. He teaches at Waxhaw Elementary, and he teaches music. All our kids have attended public school through elementary, and it was only when our kids were in the middle school that I started to think about possibly homeschooling them. So for the last 2 years, I've been homeschooling 2 of my kids, and I've been offering some writing and humanities classes in my home. Last year, my kids started attending Shanan for science and math, and I got really excited about the possibility of teaching at Shanan because I feel like it really well combines the homeschool advantages and the classroom interaction advantages. So this coming year, I'm going to be teaching 3 classes in the English department at Shanan with Mr. Gale, who was my high school English teacher and who's a phenomenal teacher. So it's such a treat for me to get to have Mr. Gale as one of my colleagues. The first class I'm going to be teaching is called Intro to Grammar and Composition. And this class is geared towards 8th and 9th graders who have a foundation of grammar, probably parts of speech and parts of the sentences, but need help with starting to combine their sentences and integrate them into shorter essays. So if you have an advanced 7th grader, talk to me and I can give you an assessment to determine if they might be ready to take Intro to Grammar and Comp. We use 2 textbooks for this class. For the first semester, we use The Grammar for Middle School by Don and Jenny Kilgallen, and this is published by Heinemann. So you can go to their website, and there's actually a free sample at the website. Sorry, I'm backwards. That you can download to actually see what the pages of this text are like, and I really appreciate that because I find it difficult to make the decision about homeschool texts without actually physically seeing some of the work my kids are going to be doing. And during May, there is a discount on this textbook of 40%, so that might be something that you can consider if you're seeing this video in the month of May. The book is also available at Amazon. I do encourage you to buy this book new or at least unmarked because it's a work text. So the students are actually going to be writing and marking in the text. And I know there are many of you who prefer your students not to mark in the book so you can resell them, but this book is very difficult for students to copy over onto another piece of paper, and it will give them excessive amounts of extra work if they try to. So I really encourage you to buy an unmarked copy that your student can write in. This book introduces them to different types of phrases and clauses that they will use to start forming more sophisticated sentences. And the way that the Kilgallens teach that method is by sentence imitation. So they'll see sentences written by professional authors and writers, and they will craft their own sentences modeled on the strategies of those professional texts. And I really like this method of teaching grammar a lot better than skill and drill because it teaches them to do more than just self-edit, but to craft. So it's sort of more of a positive, affirming rather than negative red marker version of teaching grammar. The second semester, we're going to be moving those phrasing and clauses into the paragraph level where we push those into more sophisticated essays and looking at different places within sentences that we can put different kinds of phrases, clauses, and structures. And then this gets into the higher level sentence combining. So that's the second semester textbook. It's also by the same authors. At Amazon, this book is $21.99. At the Heinemann website, it is $25.50. So that 40% discount would make a big difference. If you're not able to get this book in May with the discount, you may want to hold off buying it until later on. If we have enough in our class, I can buy a class set of these in bulk and get at least a 30% discount. So since we're not using this book until the next semester, you could hold off purchasing it. There's also a free sample of this book at the website, so you could download that. It gives you about 20 pages of text that you can look at. The second class that I'm going to be teaching, instead of focusing on writing, will be focusing on literature. And the class is called Literary Genres, and it's a survey class where we're going to look at American literature, British literature, and world literature, short stories, poems, fiction and nonfiction, and talk about all the major features of literary analysis like setting, mood, tone, and other aspects of our literary study. The book we're going to be using is an IEW text, if you're familiar with that publisher. It's called Windows to the World, and it costs $29 at the IEW website. And it does come with some online support and PDFs. I would advise you, again, with this book, to buy either a new or an unmarked copy. There are full-length short stories in this text that we will be annotating, which means taking notes on and marking. So it's really important to have an unmarked copy of the book that your student can work with. Again, at the IEW website, they provide a free sample for you to look at what this book looks like, so you can get an idea of the kinds of work that the students will be doing. And I can also provide you with a syllabus of the progression through the class, including some of the texts that we're going to study. We will be studying To Kill a Mockingbird and The Christmas Carol, and I haven't chosen all the other texts, but several of the short stories in this book are by O. Henry, and also The Necklace and Most Dangerous Game and some other great texts. If I didn't say so already, this class is probably appropriate mostly for 9th and 10th graders, sort of an introductory literature study class. We will be doing writing, but the primary emphasis of the class is not compositional development. So the students will sort of be expected to have a foundation in basic writing before taking this class. The final class that I'm going to be teaching is creative writing. And this is an English class, but it's also kind of an elective class because it's going to be for students who love writing and who pursue writing as a hobby and on their own. The book that we're going to be using is the book recommended by The Well-Trained Mind, and it's the level 3 version of the book, which is Building Your Craft. You don't need to have a new version of this book. We're just going to be using it as a textbook. So a used copy is fine. There's also a PDF available at the website, so if you prefer to buy that, that's also okay. In this class, we're going to be working with expanding our ability primarily with fiction, but we'll also be spending time with creative nonfiction, like blog writing or memoir writing, and then also spending some time with poetry. This book spends half its time on fiction and half its time on poetry, but I'll probably spend half the year on fiction and then the second half of the year on poetry and creative nonfiction. So if your students are not interested at all or are antagonistic to the idea of writing poetry, then you'll want to prepare them that that is going to be a portion of what we talk about in this class. And writing poetry is a really excellent skill for any creative writer to sort of think about the way to combine their ideas. I do have a personal website, KatrinaRyder.com. Ryder is spelled R-Y-D-E-R. Katrina is spelled with a K. And if you want to go to my website, you can see lots of samples of my writing. I wrote a personal blog for years, and there are videos of Bible studies that I've taught in the past, so you can get a sense for how I teach and communicate. If you have any questions for me, my email is katrina@katrinaryder.com. I look forward to meeting some of you and answering any questions that you might have.